Hey, what's up, guys? Uh, I guess I'll say it now. This is gonna be like the last, you know, me going over stuff like this. Maybe once in a while I'll do it with Rumorg or whatever, but I just my money's spent on better things, and there really is. And I know people like to hear, yeah, let's. I want to hear the stuff that, you know, the stuff that brings up the things we hate, and to go after them, and uh, it's just there's no point anymore, is there? You know what the process is. You know what they're gonna do. You're just getting yourself riled up over what they're saying, when really you should be turning away from uh, the mainstream in many other areas as well. But particularly, let's say if we're all horror fans, there's plenty of old films, more than enough, and there's stuff that people are doing that is real maverick independent stuff. But in here, like I keep saying, this is uh, you could say almost in a Marxist sense, like the bourgeoisification of everything. Like is complete. You can always argue horror was always just to make a buck, also, but there was a different kind of way about it. Now it literally is. I mean, none of these movies are really making any money that I can see, but they're always being made. That goes for a lot of other things. Anyways, going through little things here. I don't want to be as tit for tat. I just want to bring up like the themes I keep seeing with the editor here. He always he has a kind of hatred for the fans, the hatred of the fan. And there's a fandom, organized fandom has its own issues, you could say, but essentially they're going against the people who these things are supposedly made for, right? Entitled movie fans whining. All this man does, and many of the people in here too. It's just you're attacking your fans. You're attacking the people that you buy from, that buy your stuff. This is part of the culture now. It's you're being attacked by the people that produce these things. That you know they want your money. Now we know what paradigm this is. I can't even say it. It's the logical conclusion of the people who make these things where they hate you. Well, they're gonna keep attacking you in their art and whatever. Okay, and they're gonna turn around and whine about these strikes. Right? Uninformed, bitchy attitude. Ugh, such a bitch. Right. And of course, it's linking that to workers' rights. So now I'm all in. I'm all in for striking. I'm all in for strikes. There's no question that the people are getting less money. Okay. One of the things Marx was right about, right? The money consolidates itself eventually. Right? But that's not where these people are coming from. This attitude, this bourgeois attitude, is what's taking over. Okay, and there's going to be no revolution. The revolution's already occurred. Okay, it will continue to be a class issue. The worker doesn't even exist, even if he is a actor or a filmmaker. Yeah, workers' rights. And here's an interesting little thing linked to that, where I saw it, where apparently there's some YouTube. What is this? These brothers shot a prequel. They did something, working on a proper sequel. YouTubers breaking the horror. Have we ever seen other YouTubers breaking the horror movies successfully? So we see a trend with more YouTubers crossing over. Okay, and the names there. I'm obviously not, I'm not harassing this person, but obviously the editor here is, don't be coming at me with your hacky creepypasta nonsense, YouTubers. Filmed by YouTubers. So you can see, there's a lot of crap on YouTube. The analog horror thing is kind of been done to death, but regardless, the original ones are worthy of merit, and they were done by people outside of these systems. You could say I'm being kind of sour because I wanted someone to help me years ago shoot something, and he's like, oh, I'm SAG, so I can't help you. Oh, thanks, dude. But you can see where, and this is the key. You always have the old films, the classic films, okay, increasingly in the public domain, But you also have real outsiders making stuff that's interesting. You can avoid, the remnants, of this dying country and what they do. So, anyway, uh, and it's interesting. Mike Gingold here, an old Fangoria writer. Okay, this column always seems to be about him bitching that a movie that he thinks is great hasn't done well. Right. So what are you supposed to do? Like, maybe you should force people to go pay for it. Make it come out of their tax dollars. Maybe. I'm not a big guy like I pay my tax. I pay your salary. That's a. But the point I'm making is it just seems to be an article where a movie that he thinks should do well and doesn't do well. Okay. Part of that is the system. Okay. How you make money now from these things. Okay, streaming or otherwise. Okay, that's the culprit. The culprit's above, but he's gonna go after fans or people who don't like it. Okay, regardless, my brother James saw this film, and it was the guy he saw it with. Was a lot more inclined to these viewpoints. Let's say that you have in here. He thought this was garbage. And here's the strike. Bill Moseley, cool guy, man. Me and one of my brothers met him. He's a real cool dude, man. A real cool guy. So, and I gotta say, Barbara Crampton, she has aged really. She's not wearing makeup there. She has aged really well, really well. And I'm all for them striking. I mean, it is true. I'll be like, right, it's been harder to make money. Where's the money going? Okay, the money's going less and less to people. They can argue that they don't deserve it. That thing is over. Whatever. If there's gonna be any actors I'm ever for, it's gonna be these actors, right? But that's the whole point. Okay, the problem, you can make a Marxist argument for this in a way, or you can make a conservative revolution argument for this. Okay, there's less money for everybody around. Have you gone to the friggin' Walmart lately? But the system that these people will back up to no end is what's making this happen. Okay, they're using like an old play about who the villain is. 4 villains down. YouTube performers. Oh. Of course, the whole thing is with the AI. Okay, I don't think AI is a good thing at all. Okay, but that's like saying I don't like that it rains or there's blizzard. It's gonna be there, and it's gonna be used as it always is by the people in power to make sure we have less of anything. Okay, and they have more of it. I don't want to make this one vid. So who's this guy? Wait, hey. Yeah, fuck you too. I don't even know who you are. Why are you flipping off? He's flipping off his fans. Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe just a funny picture. He's probably flipping off the photographer. But thing at the doorstep, I just don't have any interest. VHS 85. This might be interesting because now with the 80s aesthetic, you're really going into the 80s. And I like this here. Right. I'm really interested in using those old cameras and security cameras from 1985. That level of distortion is far more visually interesting to me than HD quality pictures. Yes. And of course, even though it's film format, we did some things with Super 8. The restrictions are what's fun about it. Orson Welles very famously said that the absence of boundaries is the enemy of art. Lars von Trier's The Five Obstructions. Is it the Dogma, 98? The wonderful example of film creativity where filmmakers are given absurd rules to follow and go away and make great films. Remember those films where they made them on video cameras? Interesting. What is Dr. I remember this British comedian apparently now is referred to as a she, but kept the name Eddie. I guess you can do whatever you want, darling. So, but I still will prefer. I will prefer Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, a non-campy film, actually, very well done. And also, you could argue. I mean, listen, you can ask a man, dude. Listen, man. Maybe it's the weight. Maybe it's the obesity epidemic. Maybe it's the chemicals and the plastics. I see a lot of women that look like this, bro. Okay, and they're not all older women either. Just saying. So Saw. I mean, they just The original Saw was good. This is kind of like explaining the new film. I don't. Andy Nowicki, check out his view on it. I kind of like his thing. Check out Andy Nowicki's view on it. And they went over the old films. Uh, ah, the one thing about actually the best character in Saw to me is not Jigsaw. The best character in Saw is Detective Hoffman, because he's the guy that pretty much has to do everything. Because this guy was dead in the third part. He had to do all the heavy lifting. So, and Carrie Ools came in at the end, but Detective Hoffman is like, to me, like the anti-hero. I'm not gonna cover this at all. Once again, Andy Nowicki. Check out his review of this Believer, Exorcist. You know, and I will give credit. This guy, I know I've went over his stuff. This is actually an interesting article about belief and faith. I mean, it doesn't really matter now. Right? It's pretty much gone in the mainstream. So let's wrap this up. It's already getting too long. So we have no interest in this. Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know enough about this. So they made a movie of it. I think they made a film before with the great Nicolas Cage, but I just don't have any interest. This stuff, this is interesting. Goth dad, this guy here. This guy used to be a soldier and a firefighter, and now he's a goth music guy. What I like though is that what he says here. Okay, it's very schizophrenic. You know in your heart that this is not good. Well, yeah. Well, modern warfare works. It's mass organized murder, undiscerning random death machine that is literally based on luck. Well, yeah. Were you standing there an inch away when the bullet went just past your head? There's nothing to do with your prowess as a warrior, and there's no real honor in it. Right? Yeah, not too far from what Ernst Younger described, although he had a different view on it. But at the end of the day, this guy, it's very interesting to see him here, and basically realizing, yeah, you fought for the greatest evil, my friend. Okay, so I have I still like the goth. There's things about the goth thing I really like. So this is interesting. This is actually a cool thing to see. Almost done. Gen X wants Gen Z dead. Hey. And it's funny too, because apparently they're implying that this Gen Z woman goes back in time to '87, right, when I was a freshman in high school. And it's problematic. We got the problematic Xers while she's at it, right? So in 80s, we don't often see depicted these days. OG readers, Fango remember quite well, right? Getting picked on. Yeah, I was bullied too. The problem is, there was bullies, and then there was people trying to rob me. Right? You can deal with one. The other one's a little more difficult to deal with. Okay, Zoomer Jamie is forced to work with the unenlightened teens in Gen X. They call people fat. Casual slurs are grabbing a girl's butt. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're all older now, so I guess those of you, you rebels, of which I was one, I guess you feel vindicated now, don't you? You don't realize that you've allowed the biggest swindle and control and bully to take over that this world has ever seen. Of course, Jordan P. I see this, I run screaming. I just leave it here. This writer, Vox Day's favorite writer. She writes a story. She did a trip to North Carolina. I did not enjoy because there were so many signifying bigots around. The thin blue line flag wavers, Confederate flag T-shirters, Trump won signs. Ugh. So that ruined her time. That's all right. So Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. You're just part of the same polarity. So don't support either. Stephen King. This guy's still alive. And that's it. That's not much to really say. I'm tired of this. It's not even a lot of meat to go into, but this is horror. This is the whole mainstream is that. It's very bougie. Okay, it's very the most capitalistic and consumerist, the most blank slate for the elites to use is what the culture you have is now. So Let it die, just like these October days. Later.